What if I told you that unhappy people experience joyful moments in their lives? True happiness, however, is a constant state of a joyful person's life. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, Dawn, wait. You're only happy when things are happening. I disagree. I believe that happiness is a choice. It's a decision that you make. You can decide to be happy, put things in place to be happy, and create the feelings of happiness in your life. And that's what I did. So 11 years ago, the song Happy came out by Pharrell. Whoa, I was like, what's going on? I love this song. My stepmother had a very terrible accident. She lives in Chicago, Illinois. It was January 11 years ago. It's January now, 2025. But 11 years ago, she had a very bad accident. And she was hanging out with some friends in downtown Chicago or thereabouts. It was cold. It was snowy. She slipped on like a bank of snowy ice, fell forward, hit her chin, scraped her face, and couldn't get up. Her friends were like, stop playing around. You always joking. Because she's a happy person. They thought that she was messing around. She was like, no, I'm not joking. I can't get up. They were like, for real. She was like, no, I can't. They called the emergency services, took her to the hospital, found out that she literally broke her neck. She fractured vertebrae in her neck, like 4 and 5, something like that. And the doctors told her, you will never be able to walk again. Now, this person, to me, is one of the happiest people that I ever known in my life. And she was like, I disagree. I will walk again. It took years, right? It did, because her muscles had weakened. Her joints were painful. She had nerve damage from breaking her neck. And then they had to kind of like fuse it together. But she did walk. She walked. She got up out of her wheelchair and went to therapy over and over, got strong enough to walk. It was amazing to see. That summer, I would go every week to visit her. Thank goodness I was a school librarian at the time, and I was going through my own journey, but I wanted to be with her. I wanted to help her out. I would drive from Cleveland to Chicago from like Monday to Friday, come back on the weekends, do that over and over, maybe 6 or 8 weeks straight that summer. Pharrell's song Happy came out, and I was like, this song here, this is a bop. I loved it. I would play it over and over and over for hours. And I remember the first time I heard it, tears were streaming down my face, because I was like, I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be terrified anymore. I don't want to be in a state of fear anymore. I'm deciding to be happy. And I did. So later, many years later, people said to me, Dawn, you're always happy. And I was like, well, I'm not necessarily always happy or joyful or in this state where you see outwardly, but I made a decision to change my life. There were 3 things that I did. 3 things to be happy, whole, and free. The first was I changed my thoughts. The words that were cycling in my mind, the visions, the ideas that were in my mind were terrible. They were low vibrational. They were unhappy. They were in a space that were like holding me back, bound me like a caged animal, and I was ready to be free. You know, like if you think of a dog that's run away and that's been homeless, a homeless dog or feral dog, a wild dog that maybe at one time had a home, but his parents couldn't take care of it anymore. And they sent them out, parents, owner, you know what I'm saying? And they were out there in the wild, and then they were caught. And when they were caught, they would snap and bite, and they were afraid, and they were shaking. And then they were put into this cage until they were able to settle down. And maybe they were in a shelter for animals, and they were finally cleaned. And then finally someone who wanted to love them took them in. But before they could take them in, this dog had to be loved again, had to be told over and over that it was safe. It had to be shown it was safe until it was able to trust. That's kind of how I felt. I was in a state that I lived in a little bit of a abusive, not a little bit, it was abusive. I decided to leave that behind by getting divorced. And when I made these choices and decisions, I wanted to be happy, whole, and free. And I was like, how did I do this? When people said, Dawn, what did you do? And I said, well, what did I do? I changed those thoughts in my mind. And then I changed the words, because I would say, I hate my life. Oh, you know how you make that face and your head goes back. Oh, I hate my life. I was like, well, I love my life. I didn't. It took a year, y'all. It took a year. So I would say over and over, I love my life. I love my life. I did things that I'd never done before. I flew a plane. I jumped out of a plane. I did a high ropes course. I did flying trapeze lessons. I went to movies by myself. I went to concerts by myself, dinner by myself. I met people. I went to meetups. I did all kind of things to learn to love my life. Then I changed my mind. I was like, you know what? I don't want to hang out with that person anymore. I don't want to be in this job anymore. I don't want to live in this neighborhood anymore. I made all of these different decisions for me that made me happy because it was a choice. It was a decision. So I believe that happiness are three things. You have to be grateful, right? That was the first step. I had to learn to be grateful regardless of what was going on in my life at the time. I had to find things that I could say I'm grateful for. And I've done this over and over in my community when I work with women to empower them to create a new lifestyle for themselves. Because maybe they're like, I was really moving forward and then this happened and they forget. So we went back to that by doing gratitude. So I was grateful. I would say, thank you, God. I would say thank you. When people would actually say, don't you look great today? I like this, I like that about you. Instead of saying, oh, my hair is dirty. When they complimented me on my hair, I would just say thank you. Be grateful for the compliment, receive it. Then the second thing is be mindful. So mindfulness is all about being present. Instead of looking at the past where things have been sad or scary or difficult or challenging, we want to be right here, right now. What's going good in your life now that you can focus on? Being mindful about the people that you're with. So instead of maybe being on your phone when you're at dinner, be with them in conversation. That could be a happy experience. And instead of thinking about the future, whoo, I got those bills to pay. Woo, I got to go here. Woo, I need to finish this work. I have a presentation. Woo, I just did this YouTube video over and over and over. That would be me. Instead of thinking about the future, be present. Be mindful right now. Come back to your breath. And then last, make decisions, right? I believe that when you make certain decisions, you're in control. And when you're in control, you can be happy. So I know that people say money can't buy happiness. Yes, it can. There was a study that most of us know, but we didn't hear this newer study. There was a study that was done in 2010 by Princeton University that said most people's threshold of happiness is at $75,000. Well, it's 2025, and that ain't true because of inflation, right? So maybe I think it was in 2021, there was another study done by Purdue and the University of Pennsylvania, and they said, oh no, it's really about $95,000. Around there is the cap. Where people get to that, they have like this fulfillment of happiness. Beyond that, not so much. It doesn't change anything, I should say. So we know that if you don't have enough money to take care of your family, put food in the refrigerator, fix your car if it's breaking down, if you have a furnace that goes out and you need to repair that, if your credit is low and you can't get housing in a better place, if you are underemployed, meaning that you work a lot, but you don't get paid a lot, that can be frustrating. And that does not add to happiness, right? Because some of your basic necessities cannot be paid. So happiness can be equated to how much money you make. It's true. There are statistics out there. There's studies that are out there. But I want to leave you with this. I'm creating for the woman who is ambitious, like you, I'm sure, for the person who wants to change their lives, who wants something better, different, new, and more. Because they're like, you know what, I have some ideas about how I want to live every single day. Maybe you want to create a side hustle or even a global small business. And you want to affect change in other people's lives and leave a legacy for your community and your family. I have some things for you. Starting with my series on happiness. Yes, it's inside of my Club Awaken, which is a membership that you can join. We're doing a 3-part series on the science of happiness because it's more than just being a person who is saying that, yeah, I'm happy when they're really not, or I'm so unhappy and I don't know what to do to change it. I'm going to give you tips, tools, and techniques because I want you to live a life that is happy, whole, and free. So I hope this was helpful. I want you to tell me, what are you doing to make yourself happy? What have you done in your life that has brought you happiness. And if you know about the feelings wheel, which I think is another powerful resource, tell me if you have used this before as well, because the happiness on the feelings wheel is kind of like the primary kind of feeling. And then we go to other things like playfulness or contentment or proud. And then we can go to the third or the outer ring, which is freedom, right? I love that. Free, joyful, curious, successful. Those can be some of the words. So let me know if you've used the freedom wheel. Let me know if you've used the feelings wheel. It's a freedom wheel too, because once you know how you feel, it sets you free. Put that in the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe. I would love that. Make sure that you like this video and share it with other people. And as I like to say, may you be happy, may you be whole, and may you be free.